little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. Now today I'm going to show you something a little bit different, which is going to require a little bit of a different tool. I showed this previously. This is a double-ended Tunisian crochet hook, otherwise known as a crow hook. And there are a lot of different terminology bits for what this technique is. There's crochet and crow hooking and double-ended Tunisian stitching and so forth, but for this particular project you are going to need a double-ended crochet hook. This actually I was not able to find in stores locally. I had to order this online, and I did get a set of a whole bunch, reasonably priced through Amazon. And this one is specifically a size M, and this is a 9mm double-ended crochet hook. Lovely bamboo, love it. And I find that this size worked rather well with using worsted weight yarn. Now what I did was I used two different Red Heart Ombre colors of yarn because this is double-sided. Now check this out. We have sort of a peachy that is dominant on this side, and then flip it over and it is dominantly gray on this side. And what I loved about using the ombres is that, you know, it gets progressively lighter with the peach, and then on the other side it gets progressively lighter with the gray as well, but it maintains the double nature going on here. And this is actually really quite simple, really quite lovely. Now, I cannot stress enough that you want to use a large gauge hook for this for two reasons. One, whenever you use a small gauge hook when you're Tunisian crocheting, and the fabric is very tight, you know, it can be very unflexible. Also, it will have a very nasty tendency to curl quite a bit. Now this I did not block, and as you can see, it really does not have that much curl to it whatsoever. It drapes very nicely. And so typically with worsted weight yarn, you would use, you know, maybe like a size I or so, but I'm using, as I said, I'm using a size M. Okay, so you want to keep that in mind before you start in. And if you can find these hooks, this is a really easy and great technique for something that's visually quite stunning. So without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, so we're going to get started with a slip knot, as always. And I'm going to go relatively slow for this. However, I have done a couple of other tutorials for Tunisian crocheting. You can check those out as well. And, you know, it's very similar to the basic standard Tunisian crocheting, but since it is two colors, there's a little bit of a twist, and we're going to get into that. So we're going to start by chaining up some stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, just enough for a nice little swatch. All right, then we need to pick up our stitches. So not into that first chain, but into the next chain over. Going to pull up a loop and keep it on there. Going into the next chain, pull up a loop, and so forth all the way across, one loop up in every chain. By the way, I'm using Red Heart Super Saver for this particular example. Just something I happen to have lying about. And because I did a total of 10 chains, I should have 10 loops on my hook. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. All right, so now that I have all of my loops on my hook here, now this is where it's a little bit different. See, typically you would just continue on with the purple, but for this case, we're going to scooch the yarn, this piece, all the way to the end here, and we're going to turn the work. Okay, so now we have to take our second color, and we're going to cast that on that way. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Alrighty. All right, so now for the next color, going to pull up a loop of yarn through the first loop. See, I'm just holding it like that, no biggie. So we're going to pull up a loop of yarn through that first loop, like so, and then pull through 2 loops. I'm just going to do that again for you so you can see a bit easier perhaps. So I had all my loops on there, and you're just pulling up a loop of your new color. Sometimes it helps if you get it on your hook first. Okay, and so pull up a loop of the new color through 1 loop. All right, then be sure that you're holding onto your working yarn, not your tail yarn, and then pull through 2 loops. Okay, then through another 2 loops, through another 2 loops, through 2 loops, through 2, through 2, through 2, through 2, and through 2. All right, and you can tighten up your tail just a little bit, not too much. And then continuing on with the yellow, in my case, we're going to go underneath these bars here, just like you would in regular Tunisian crocheting. So skipping this first purple bar that we just cinched a bit, going in through the next underneath that bar, and pull up a loop, going in through the next purple bar, pull up a loop, underneath the next purple bar, pull up a loop, and so on and so forth through all of your stitches. Also, another thing is that if you're using a larger gauge hook, it's a lot easier to get into your stitches. If you're using a small gauge hook, it can be rather difficult to get into your stitches. The advantage of this is, yes, they are 2 different colors, so that is, of course, very helpful. But seeing them and being able to get into them is 2 completely different things. Come on. There we go. And then, last but not least, we have our last bar right there. And pull through, and there you go. So you have all of your loops back on your hook. That being said, we have to scooch them all the way down to the other side and turn the work again. And now we're going to be working with the purple. So whenever you have all of your stitches on your hook, that is when you switch off. All right, so again, now with the purple, because we have ourselves a bit more established, it's a bit easier. So now with the purple, pull through 1 loop to begin with, and then pull through 2, pull through 2, and through 2, through 2, through 2, and so forth all the way till we reach the end. And then just pull your working tail of the yellow just a little bit. And then go back through. So underneath the yellow bar, pull up a loop. Underneath the next yellow bar, pull up a loop. Underneath the next yellow bar, pull up a loop. And do the exact same thing all the way across. Until you reach the end. And then through the yellow one. Now what you could also do is, instead of going just underneath this yellow one, you could go underneath the yellow one and this purple one as well, like so. Gives it a little bit more of a solid edge, quite frankly. So I'm going to do that right now. There we go. All right. And then, because you have all of your loops on your hook, you then slide it to the other side, turn your work, and you then work with the yellow again. All right. And so I'm going to do this row, and then I'm going to show you how to bind off. All righty. Be right back. All right, so I'm going to do another row for you. So as you can see, we have a dominant purple on this side and a dominant yellow on this side. It's pretty cool, huh? All right, so we're going to keep working just a little bit. So pull through just the first one, pull through one, and then pull through two, pull through two, through two, and through two, through two, through two, through two, a couple more, through two, and through two. And of course you can pull that purple tail just a little bit. All right, so now when you want to cast off and you're all good and ready, all you need to do is chain up one, and then go through the purple bar just as we had before. So pull through the purple bar and that chain one through both of them. Okay, then underneath the next purple bar, pull through there and that next loop, through the next purple bar, and through that loop. Basically you're binding off, just like you would if you were knitting. So through that purple bar, and through the next loop, through the purple bar, and through the loop. And you want to do this loosely also. Through the purple bar, and through that one, through the purple bar, and through that one, through the purple bar, and through the next one. And then last but not least, you can go through both or just one, either way is fine. Pull through and then through and off. Ta-da! Pretty spiffy, huh? So you too can make a double-sided Tunisian crochet piece. It's really quite lovely. It's really quite easy. And also there are ways, actually, believe it or not, of using this size hook and doing an entire Afghan size piece, you know, a single piece, not in strips, using just this hook, using this technique. So you can have an entire Afghan sized piece, you know, in this technique, you know, dominance on one side and one on the other, using the exact same technique. You know, it's just a matter of shifting your stitches a bit. And, you know, perhaps I'll show you how to do that at some point. You know, food for thought, as always. But I hope that you found this tutorial interesting and that you might like to give it a try yourselves. If you liked it, please hit that little thumbs up button down below because I really do appreciate your support, as always. And also, if you have any questions, perhaps I can be of some assistance, you never know. And also, if you want to see more, please hit subscribe because I try to post videos as often as I can, whether it be in knitting, crocheting, audiobook narration, or on my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, video game commentary and playthroughs. So until next time, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.